Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you here is uh, where the market was last week, which is you'll see in the newsletter. And we came into the week just below 12.8. So last week I drew these channels for you, and I felt there was a pretty good chance that we would fall back into this channel and we would test 12.4, which you can see highlighted. If you come back up to tomorrow's chart or today's, um, you will see that we fell for 4 days and then we got Friday's bounce. So coming into the week, uh, you know, as far as the Dow, we're going to look for 12.9 to hold, maybe a stretch to 13. But then anything after that, and if earnings start coming in good, then we could have a possible breakout. The other chart I want to show you real quick is the S&P, and this is also in the newsletter, and you'll see this blue box here, and that basically shows the trading range we have been in since beginning of May. As you can see here, at the end of May and the beginning of June, this got stretched way to the bottom, and this is kind of when we started buying the July options. And unfortunately, we got the bounce back up here and then came back down and then tested resistance from last week. And this right here, this big candle up, um, was the European news. And as you can see, that quickly faded. So here we are again. And now this week, with everything going on, we should break out of this trading range. So what I've listed down here for you, let me get through all this here. Okay, are like um, earnings and economic news. So um, I think there's a semi-big report on Monday with one of the banking stocks, but I kind of just went with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Citigroup's reporting on Tuesday, Intel, and then I'll cover an Intel trade real quick here. As you can see, I've listed Wednesday. Um, we've got American Express, Bank of America, eBay. Um, the important one for me will be, let's see, IBM, which is a Dow component, and they've pretty much done well over the last couple of years reporting. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. And then Thursday we've got BB&T, COF, Chipotle, and Philip Morris. As far as economic news, um, you'll see I've got that listed here, and you'll read about it in the newsletter. And then Bernanke is speaking on Tuesday, and again on Wednesday, and Friday is options expiration. So uh, besides Europe, we've got a lot of things going on here at home. So we should get. I'm not going to say we're going to break out of this training range, but we could come close this week, and then next week see the follow through. Okay, the next thing I want to show you here is futures. Um, let's see. Right now I'm on the Intel screen. Let me go to a futures box. You can go to Google, and then if you want, just type in futures. And as you can see here, I've got Bloomberg, and click on that, and you can check the futures. At night before you go to bed, or when you wake up in the morning. Right now, it's about 3 in the morning, and the European markets are getting ready to open. So As of right now, the Dow's down. The futures are down almost 30 points, and they're under 12.7. Um, the key I'm looking for is right here. The S&P futures are down a little bit over 3, but they're under 1350, and I'll talk about that in the newsletter. And in the S&P, they're down a half a dozen. The Nasdaq futures are down 6. So um, it looks like we may have a slightly lower open in the morning, but a lot can happen in the next 6.5 hours. Okay. Um, let's see. We're going to kind of slow with this. Here we go. If you're in Yahoo and you want to see what companies are reporting earnings, let's just say I didn't have that written down for you. Um, just type in earnings calendar. And it'll give you the companies that are reporting this week. And as you can see, this is the week of July 16th, and this is Monday. So what was let's see here, Citigroup. Yeah, Citigroup's reporting today, and they're reporting after the market. So, um, then you can go to Tuesday and you'll see other companies that kind of listed for Tuesday reporting, and then you would keep progressing. And if you wanted to search for trades for next week, earnings trades, you would do the same thing. You would click on next week and then start seeing what companies report on which days. Now, the reason I say that, um, it's sometimes it's earning trades are tricky. Um, you have to have a feel for them. You have to know what the company's going to report, what they have reported in the past, and how the stock reacts. So, and even after all your homework's done and you do the research, the stock could still go the other way. That's just how earnings are. Um, let's look at Intel real quick. That's just one of the earnings trades I picked out. So on Monday, if you want to look at some options um, to play a directional call, if you think Intel is going to beat estimates and the stock's going to go up 10%, you want to buy calls, and you can do that. Or if you think they're going to miss and lower guidance and shares are sinking, then you could buy puts. Um, let's see if I can show you here. If you click on analyst estimates, it'll tell you what they're going to earn for the quarter. And let's see, you got 44 analysts covering it. The average estimate is 52. The high estimate's 56, and the low is 47. Um, what I'd like to look at here is the earnings history, and you can see. Let's see how they reported. In March, they beat by 3 cents. Beat by 3 cents the prior quarter, 4 cents and 3 cents. So let's see how the stock trades. So Intel's beaten the last 4 quarters. And it looks like 3 cents is the magic number. So they're going to report, let's see, 17th. So we would go back to, let's see how it traded in April. So April, somewhere right around in here, they traded earnings. Probably right around in here. So you can see shares jumped, $1 over a couple of days, and then rose up to 29 after they reported. And then if we go back to January, right around the same time frame, let's see. So it looks like they reported probably here the 101 million shares that traded. And shares, they were up marginally at 26.38, and they kind of rallied. They didn't rally much higher than that, maybe up to 27. And if you want, you can keep checking these. You can go back to, let's see, the October quarter. Let's see what they did. 138 million shares. This is kind of when Intel reported back in October. And you can see shares didn't move too much. Okay, so what does that mean? It means, shares could react the same way they have been. They could stay flat. They could pop $1. So how do you play it? Okay. You could look at some of these July options if you just wanted to do a 1 or 2 day trade. I don't think Intel is going to move 10%, but they could on a very good quarter or a very bad quarter. So, if you look at the Julys, they expire this Friday. A 10%, even a 5% move would put Intel over 26. So you could play these July 26 calls for 25 cents. And you can see almost 15,000 contracts traded. All right. And if you look at the puts, let's just say you think Intel is going to miss. Shares are going to drop 5% or under 24. And looks like the July 24 puts are at 13 cents. So there's a lot of ways you could kind of play this. I've listed the August options because it gives you, over a month to play it. And basically, I've written here, like if Intel moves 10%, that means 250 in the share price. And that would get shares near 28 or below 23. And then the 5% move would be, $1.25. And it would put shares near 26.50 or 24. Now, if you bought the August 25 calls and the August 25 puts, which we'll show right here, 75 and 85 cents. Okay. Okay. All right. The 26 calls, which I've got. We're going to have to do that. I guess the price has changed. Oh, these are July. Okay. I was a little worried there. Hold on for a second. Let's go to August. Okay. As you can see, sorry about that. The August 25 calls are at 85 cents. And then you come down, and the August 25 puts, they're at 75 cents. So, okay, here we are. Basically, let's see. This would be 3. If Intel rallied to 28, the calls would be worth 3, and you could close the entire trade or just the calls, and you would have a double. Now, is that going to happen? Probably not. Could Intel fall 10%? Yeah. And that would put shares near 23. But let's just say Intel did rally to 28. You would sell the calls on the pop, and then you could leave the puts open. And they don't expire until mid-August. So let's just say Intel popped. you sold the calls, and then you just wait until August to see where the puts are at, and you can make money on that. Um, I've also listed a strangle and kind of like a 5% move. So if the August 27 calls, right now I'm sorry, the 26 calls are 40 cents, and the 24 puts are at 40 cents. Let's see if we can show that real quick. Okay, there's the 40 cents for the August 26 calls. Uh, we're going slow here. All right, and then the 24 puts, you can see they're about 40 cents as well. Okay. And I've kind of laid out like, if Intel pops to 27, the calls will be worth 1, which is a 25% return just on the 80 cents. And then again, the puts would fall, but they don't expire until mid-August. Um, that gives you a free trade. So that's kind of how I'm looking at Intel. Oops. It's kind of how I'm looking at Intel. And then um, Bank of America, I think they're going to beat earnings. eBay, I just let me go back to Bank of America. I think they're going to beat earnings because the bar is so lowered. But we're already in covered calls, and um, I'm not 100% sure of a directional call play on Bank of America. Um, eBay's interesting because if the market's going up, you might want to look at eBay and the near term calls because shares could probably push over 40 just based on their PayPal business. And then the IBM options, some of the July options might be a little bit cheaper because it's the last week they trade. But normally, stocks over 100, you know, I don't really like to trade, or 150 or something like that, because the premiums can get pretty expensive. So let me just show you one more thing real quick with Intel. Okay. Um, I like to do a lot of my charts on stock charts. It's a free site, and as you can see, I've got the Intel chart up here. And what you can do is kind of go down here, add the 100-day moving average, and then you update your chart, and this will give you kind of a better picture of where Intel is at. Let's see if I can make this bigger for you here. Okay. Um, these are the moving averages. You can see right here we've got the 50, the 100, and the 200. And shares of Intel are below all of them. And then if I put some, let's see. Okay, if I draw some, let's see here. Let me undo that. This right here will show you the downtrend that Intel is in. And then if you come over here and you kind of want to draw another little channel, as you can see, Intel is in the bottom of this channel. So if they report a good quarter, it looks like shares could test. Let's see here. 26 is probably going to be a good resistance point. All right, so there we go. So I think that's the ceiling for Intel, and then you can see it's also near the top of that upper channel. Let's see if we can do a longer term chart. And this might give you a better picture of what Intel might do. Okay, we'll make this a weekly. And then I'll copy and paste it for you. Let's see. Okay. Now this is a little different chart because these are kind of like the 50-week moving average, or the moving averages will be a little bit different because we're looking at a 2-year chart, which doesn't look as bearish. As you can see, the stock's above all of the moving averages. Let's see what it looks like with some lines. Let's see. Now, to figure out, a breaking point for a stock, just go to a low point. You can come back here to last year, or you can come recently, which was last October. And you can see right here it bottomed just around 19. So if we do this, that kind of shows the break of the uptrend line. And then you've got the back test that came last week on Friday. So let's see here. We'll do our resistance at 26. But let's just say Intel reports a really bad quarter. And shares fall 10%, then you're going to get support down here at 23. Okay, and then if I wanted to, we could draw, I could show you support here real quick. Here's 23 right there. And you can see this cluster right here. And then again, right here. Now, if you wanted to play the upside, like I said, Intel could surprise everyone. And shares could run off and test 26 or 27, 28. But I think the ceiling would be right here. Let's see. As you can see right here. That's if it overshoots. So that's what I'm looking for this week. I'm not going to play Intel with the trades I've got open now. But trading ranges are never good. And we hopefully we get a lot of movement this week, and some of the July options come back. But if not, we could stay in a trading range for another week or two. But I really think when we get into late August, September, that we're going to be at much lower levels. So remember this trading range. And like I said, don't get too bullish or bearish or too excited or too nervous until we break out of it. And as you can see on the S&P, that would be 1375. If that happens, then I'm probably going to send out some call options on the Dow and the S&P and the Qs. Um, but if we break below 1300, then we'll be buying puts. But until we get out of this range, um, it might be better to use straddles and strangles and try to get the 30 and 40% winners. I'm still hoping a lot of the July trades come back. I'm very optimistic about the August. But for the year, we're 105 and 21. So if we have 10 losers, we'll be 105 and 30. And we'll just get them in the back half of the year. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. For everybody that signed up, we got a lot of new users. So if you got any questions, email me. If you think there's things I need to improve on, show you more, just let me know, and I'll be glad to show you. Again, the future's lower, so we could be headed back to the bottom of the trading range, and depending on how the week plays out, we could start correcting again, or we could bang up against the top of the trading range all week and stay there, or we could break out. So we'll let the price action tell us what's happening, and I'll talk to you guys during the week.